daily sports entertainment. We just want titles. That's all we want around here. We just want championships. And I like the fact that Marc Lore and Alex Rodriguez are bringing that championship mindset and pedigree. And I'm only saying that half jokingly. A-Rod did win a championship with the Yankees in 2009?
09.
I want to say. Mm-hmm. And Marc Lore has created two of the most successful startups of the last 25 years and then helped run Amazon and Walmart. And those guys sat down with Johnny Krasinski recently from The Athletic and did a little Q&A. There's two different articles. You can just do their deep dives if you want a peek behind the curtain at Timberwolves ownership, or at least minority ownership in 2 years, maybe majority. And I'd love to go through some of these comments. I've just pulled out 5 or 6 quotes and comments and themes from these articles. I'd love to just throw them out and we can react to them if you guys are down for a little Timberwolves deep dive here.
Let's go.
All right.
Howl.
Let's, what was that, Dex?
Howl.
Oh.
H-O-W-L. Howl.
That was said with
Howl.
Almost no passion whatsoever.
Enthusiasm.
Yeah. Howl.
All right. Here's the first one. Lore and Rodriguez have already started an examination of the franchise's structure and core values, which I like. I want to back up for a second. Marc Lore absolutely knows what he's doing with business. Alex Rodriguez has a lot of money and has been a top athlete and does some things in business, but mostly just knows the right people to attach himself to. Mm-hmm. So I'm taking Marc Lore's thoughts with more, I guess, credibility than Alex Rodriguez's as we go through these. So Lore and A-Rod have already started an examination of the franchise's structure and core values. What do you guys want the Wolves' core values to be like? What is, if they put something on the wall? You know how, PJ Fleck has, in the practice rooms, right? I don't even know what he has. Probably an acronym or something. What would be, the one-sentence core value that you would want Marc Lore and Alex Rodriguez to put right on the entrance of the Timberwolves facility when they walk in? This is the most important thing to our company, to our franchise.
A fresh start begins today. That's mine. A fresh start. This franchise is in classic need of a reboot, a reset, rethinking things. And that does not mean that everybody involved with this team is a train wreck. There are some good people. But I think to go back to this word, I think the overall culture of this franchise has been messed up for a long time. And I think that starts at the top. I really do. So I would say a fresh start begins today is the theme that I would harp on in saying the names might not all change. Certainly quite a few will, but they won't all change. But the feeling around this franchise will change drastically.
Dex?
Mine would be better. And I know that sounds kind of blunt, but this has been basically 20 of what the Wolves have been here for 30 years, right? 20 of these 30 years have been a dumpster fire bad. It's been incredibly bad. And we were really fortunate enough to have a good years there with Kevin Garnett. And I know there's still glass half empty there because of them really just only being a one and done team and never being able to surround them with the right teammates around Kevin Garnett. But if they didn't have Kevin Garnett, this franchise would be gone. Mm-hmm. This franchise would have been gone in well before 2020. And I do want this team to be good. I know, I don't watch the Wolves as much as I do probably the Wild and the Twins and the Vikings, and that's because it's been mostly a dumpster fire. But I want this franchise to be successful. So I would just say be better. It's time to be better.
Mine's a little more specific than you guys. Mine would literally say, turn Anthony Edwards into Dwayne Wade, into a modern version of Dwayne Wade. Because we can talk about culture and bringing KG back, and we can talk about Karl Anthony Towns. But I think the guy that has the highest ceiling and potential to carry this franchise and to be what Kevin Garnett was for 12 years or whatever it was with the Timberwolves is Anthony Edwards. And I think if you can just surround him with the right coaches and training and assets and knowledge, and it would be great to get KG back in the organization so he can be around Anthony Edwards and plant some of those mental seeds into his head. The fact that Dwayne Wade himself has already come out and said, boy, I see a lot of myself in Ant. He can be a better version of me. I don't think Dwayne Wade just out there saying that about anybody and everybody. So everything would be about Anthony Edwards and developing him and making sure that he becomes, the 100th percentile of whatever his peak potential is.
To broaden that out, though, I think the level of dysfunction with this franchise going back years now is so high, and I think there's so much we don't know. Like, to be this bad for this long, things have gone so wrong that I think at every bit at the core of this team, you have to look, examine it, and probably make, if not changes in the people who run it, then at least changes in how they go about it. Like, I would love to.
What's the one constant? Let's go back.
It's Glenn Taylor.
Correct.
But
Ethan
I'm saying
Caston's only been here for 4 years.
Right, but I'm saying that I think a lot of the look. I think Glenn's a decent guy, okay? But I think a lot of the things that he wanted and has established are dysfunctional. Like, you can't be this bad for this long without things below the surface being rotten.
Yeah, I don't know how he operates his non-basketball businesses, obviously well enough to become a billionaire and have homes in Naples.
Good businessman,
right?
Obviously. Yes.
But he's a terrible NBA franchise businessman. He has no concept of how to lead and create great structure. I think any good structure they have now is a product of just sort of blind luck. I think they've got some the jury's still out on, I think, the current iteration of leaders in that franchise in Gerson Rosas, because they have to win games on the court. And maybe if the three key players stay healthy this year, maybe they make the playoffs. We'll see. Right. But let's keep, actually, a lot of this sort of rolls into some of these other comments. So I'll get to the next one here. Mm-hmm. Given the plan that A-Rod and Lore will one day complete the transaction to become primary owners, Glenn Taylor is assembling a system for them to have more input than the typical limited partner. So there's a lot of minority owners that just, they get some say, but it's mostly just like on a conference call with Glenn, right? They don't get like hands-on, sort of mold the clay type influence. Sure. So I'll react to this one first in terms of those guys getting more input in the minority stage of their ownership. I have been told absolutely that they're already involved in certain things. They've got ideas, and Johnny lays some of this out too. But from what I've been told, A-Rod and Lore are going to be much more active and hands-on much earlier than people probably think. That, hey, they're not going to be full owners for 2 more years, but they're going to start to assume power and influence starting now, starting a month ago. And we'll see how that goes. But what are you guys' thoughts on that? Like, just those guys, instead of dipping their toes in, those guys just getting influence now and Glenn having to approve some certain things.
I think it's not a surprise. And I think the reality of this entire story, while the face that is put on it is, well, Glenn's going to lead them and show them the ropes, right? Which is, I think that's BS. I think these guys slowly but surely are accruing enough to buy the majority stake in this team, and that's why it's slow. But the idea then is that they need to come in and have a say. And again, I'll say this. If you look at the Wolves, do you really say, oh, God, Glenn's not going to own him anymore? I don't know about this. But this, to me, is a slow build and a slow cook based on the financial commitment of these two, far more than, well, let's roll this thing out slowly so Glenn can hand over the torch. I think this has to do with finances, and that means it makes way more sense to get these guys embedded and, if not making final decisions, then at least very involved right now.
Yeah. Here's another one kind of along those lines. Glenn Taylor, quote, "Everybody's really happy. My next step, which I've already started, is to get those guys in here and let them learn about owning an NBA basketball team as much as they can. If they have some creative ideas, I'd be interested." Let me ask you guys this follow-up question. What is the most important thing you want A-Rod and Lore to learn from Glenn Taylor?
What not to do.
Yeah.
On every level.
Yeah.
It's what not to do. Again, you know what? If they were about to buy the Star Tribune, I'd say, hey, done a great job. Learn away. But what have you seen, Phil? Like we've talked about this 1,000 times. What have you seen that you would want a creative businessman to go in and say, Oh, this is how Glenn does it? Forget my ideas.
Yeah. I think, yes, there are obviously there's some things if you've never owned an NBA franchise, there's definitely things that you're going to want to learn, but there's all kinds of other owners in the NBA that will help teach you those things.
Can I stop you there, though? Can I stop you there? Mark Cuban didn't know when he first bought the Mavs, right? Like, there was a lot he didn't know. But how are guys like this, and I'm talking more Lore than A-Rod, how are guys like this ultimately, how do they learn? Trial and error. So, like, I think if you're like, oh, Glenn does this, we should do this, I don't think that's the right call. I think guys like Cuban, Lore, I think they learn from mistakes too.
Yeah. And
here's
the thing, and you kind of already said it. I mean, Glenn Taylor is, by all accounts, I don't know him personally that well. I don't think he'd really want to sit down and share a burger with me for all the criticism.
You never know.
But he's a wonderful human. He's kind. He's caring. He wants the franchise to do really well, but he just doesn't know what he's doing. Like he doesn't have whatever attributes you need to be able to identify the best people to work and run your organization, and
right.
And whatever attribute you need to keep a Kevin Garnett relationship alive and well, even though KG's a cantankerous dude. Like, he doesn't possess those qualities. Now, I don't want con men to come in here and run the Wolves. Like, I think A-Rod is – I think the jury is still out on him. I think there's a lot of con men there, right? Marc Lore is not a con man. No, maybe Marc Lore has some shark to his personality. Not maybe, he does.
Yeah.
But Marc Lore has climbed the ladders of startups selling for billions into some of the top companies in the world and has helped shape what they look like right now. And so I'm actually very confident that Marc Lore can just kind of jump in and without a ton of knowledge about an NBA franchise, like he's helped run Amazon, Walmart, like other big companies, diapers.com. Like, I think he'll figure it out. Here's another one. This is from A-Rod. Mark and I love this town. Long term, our vision is Minnesota all the way. We love it. We think there's tremendous upside. We think it's a great corporate town. We think there's great social opportunities to bring people together. A-Rod called Minneapolis a favorite city of his to visit during his baseball days, but his ties don't end there. He was an investor in the Chambers Hotel downtown for a while and said he has invested in a few thousand apartment units in the area over the last 2 decades. Lore has connections from his business dealings as well. Your thoughts? Does A-Rod love the Twin Cities as much as he says to Johnny
He
Cage?
and his partner love one thing. They love the brand spanking new arena that's going to be built downtown to house the Wolves. That's what they will love. Like this all, we could talk all we want about, they're going to come in and do this and that. But the one thing that they're going to do, and I don't blame them one bit, is ask for a new building at some point in time. So they love us as much as Norm did, which is to say, if we give them what they want, the Wolves are staying put for years to come. If we're like, yeah, we built enough buildings and arenas and stadiums, boys, sorry about that, then they're going to start to threaten us. And that's how this works.
If they do decide to build a new arena, I can't recommend any other company besides Burnsville Heating and Air to work on that new HVAC system. You want that arena to be
they can work on it.
You want that HVAC system to be money inside the new Target Center. And so Burnsville Heating and Air, they're hiring full-time positions with overtime opportunities, up to $2,000 sign-on bonuses, year-round work within 10 to 20 minutes of wherever you live. They'll find you something even if you don't live near Burnsville. And they're hiring all levels of experience: apprentices, leads, finishers, equipment setters. If you're Judd Zolgad and you have no idea what HVAC even stands for,
doesn't matter.
Yep. They'll bring you
on. What does it stand for?
They'll train you on the job. Why don't you Google it?
What does it stand for, guys?
BurnsvilleHeating.com. Click careers. BurnsvilleHeating.com and click careers.
Heating, ventilation, and air conditioning.
Of course, I knew that the whole time. I was just testing you, Declan. Very good job.
All right, A-Rod, on the actual negotiations, which from start to finish, like the first Zoom call with Glenn to the agreement was like a 12-day process, which I reported a couple months ago on this show.
Yeah, with Becky's Cooking.
In fact, the only reason why I'm going to read this next part is to prove who really broke the meaningful news. Johnny reports, Lore prefers sushi for lunch on most days, but when he arrived at the Taylor's winter home in Naples, he found Becky Taylor cooking cheeseburgers on the grill with potato salad and key lime pie for dessert. Never forget who broke the potato salad.
That's right. Very good.
On Mackie
Very
and Judd
good.
2 months ago.
And they talked about the Tampa Bay T-Wolves. That's what they talked about. Man,
Yeah.
that team will look great in Tampa. Anyway,
Good
congratulations.
alliteration.
Congratulations. Way to pat yourself on the back for that breaking news.
A-Rod adds, this is cringy. A-Rod says, we're sitting down and you can just tell the Taylors are great people from Minnesota. Simple, honest, incredibly passionate. He called them simple.
Simple, yeah. Simple, gullible.
It seemed like
boy.
great timing where it almost feels like he's the father and Mark and I are the two sons. We have a lot of opinions, but ultimately we know that Dad makes all the decisions.
Oh, my God. No, he didn't. See, this is why he's still the fraud he's always been. Like, he
yes,
thinks we're
Father
going to believe
Glenn.
that crap?
You
He thinks we're going to buy that nonsense?
But he called him simple. Oh, he's just a simple
Well,
guy.
but he's probably
guy.
is not wrong in his
Great
mind.
burgers, Becky. Really love these.
Yeah, they made apple pie and burgers or something, and we're supposed to believe, these two guys, these two complete sharks, they're all in.
I mean,
By the way,
I think their preference would be for the team to be in Minnesota with a new
it
arena.
would be. By the way, I built it for him.
Oh, me too. The NBA is on fire. Yes.
To be clear, I built it for him. I don't want to lose the team.
Yeah. So those are the comments from A-Rod and Lore. A lot of interesting stuff there, and I think my biggest takeaway is, there's some risk. Obviously, Glenn Taylor wants to keep the team in Minnesota, but the team has been
it's
garbage
fine.
in Minnesota. I'm
Yeah.
willing to assume
I'm with
some
you.
of that risk for a more
100%.
shark-like modern owner, and we'll see if this franchise can actually make some noise.
I would rather they move than we continue with Glenn to spin our wheels. Because Dex is right. I mean, this has been a disaster of a franchise. He's right. You're exactly right, man. One playoff run, 30 years.
Yep. So, listen, if I'm looking to maybe road trip from the winter home in Naples up to Target Center area, maybe I'll hop on a bike, maybe a Harley, a metric cruiser, a sport bike. I'm trying to envision Glenn like on a Harley,
I can do it.
bandana, wind going through his
Easy
sweater
rider.
vest.
Yep. It's got the jacket on, leather jacket. Vroom.
Well, Glenn will find what he needs at DennisKirk.com. They've got 160,000 parts and accessories in stock, clothing and helmets as well. Probably got some sweaters there, too. If you order by 8 p.m., they ship the same day, and shipping is free for orders over $89. When the open road calls, head to DennisKirk.com.
Looking for adventure in whatever comes our way. Sorry.
Also worth noting, too, Ramona Shelburne reported the Timberwolves were briefly involved in a sign-and trade discussion with the Lakers for Alex Caruso. I think he wound up with the Bulls, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Sort of a 3-and-D point guard who can, I mean, he wasn't like a super key player, but he was hard-nosed defensive guy who can pass and shoot. And the Wolves would have taken Marc Gasol's $2.6 million salary and old body back in return.
Old
So
body.
I don't know what they would have given up for that, but Alex Caruso as a backup point guard, you could do worse. But if that would have been like the splash this offseason, well, they haven't made any. I mean, they haven't made any ripples, period, yet this offseason.
Come on,
so
Gerson.
we'll see.
Make a move.
It feels like there's still some things that are going to happen here.
Yeah.
There's a Ben Simmons
Yeah.
thing that's going to happen at some point. There's moves to be made. We'll see if the Wolves are involved. So, all right, boys, that's a wrap. Mackie and Judd, daily Minnesota sports entertainment. Be sure to give us a 5-star rating on Apple if you could. Help spread the word about the show. And check out our daily Vikings conversations at Purple Daily, 7 days a week and then some. Even a Purple After Dark last night. So we'll see you guys tomorrow.